Did Vikings offensive coordinator Wes Phillips leak the Vikings plan in 2025 for the quarterback position? Now, this is going to be a juicy show. Wes Phillips, when he spoke to the media on Monday, on Tuesday, he had some very interesting quotes on Sam Darnold. And, I want everybody to put on their, investigative hats on here as this is a little juicy show. I'm not fully saying that, Wes Phillips leaked the plan, but he did have a lot of interesting things to say around Sam Darnold. So I'll share with you guys that here in a second. But I'll ask you guys first, what would you do with Sam Darnold? And I think there are three options that we'll dive into on today's show. Number one, you could franchise tag him. Number two, you could extend him. Or number three, you could just let him walk. So give me a T for franchise tag, E for extend, or W for let Sam Darnold walk. All right, let's dive into the quote that kind of got got a lot of clicks on Vikings Twitter, so I want to talk about it. So, Wes Phillips on Sam Darnold. He said, a sought-after type guy, wherever that may be. Happy for him, no matter where that ends up being. I would hope he would kind of say, hey, the body of work that I put out in so far is going to take care of the future. Really, all I need to worry about is right now. I think we all know that Sam is going to be a sought-after type of guy from wherever that may be. Whatever his future ends up being, I know all of us in this building are going to be happy for him. No matter where that ends up being, I don't think he has to worry about that anymore. And with what Wes Phillips had to say of just continuously saying, wherever Sam Darnold is, wherever he ends up going, we'll be happy for him. Like, is he pretty much going out there and saying Sam Darnold is not going to be the starting quarterback for the Vikings next season no matter what happens? And I'm not really sure what to make of this, but it is incredibly interesting that Wes Phillips said this, because Wes could have got up there and said, hey, I'm not going to talk about Sam Darnold, where he ends up going. We love him in the building, and kind of just keep it there. But he gave a pretty in-depth answers just saying, hey, wherever Sam Darnold goes, we'll support him no matter what, pretty much indicating that it won't be in Minnesota. And Kevin O'Connell jokes about it all the time. They call him Dr. Wes Phillips as he almost leaks too much information to the media. Maybe Kevin O'Connell's going to have to sit Wes Phillips down and give him some media training, because I do not like that. He pretty much came out and said that Sam Darnold will be playing elsewhere. But, with the Vikings and the Sam Darnold situation, I think they got three options. Number one, I'm going to talk about the franchise tag for Sam Darnold, because Colin Cowherd, he talked about this, saying this is how he would play it. But the biggest negative about the franchise tag is the price. Now, this is an estimation, but it is supposed to be, the franchise tag will be $41 million next season. And this isn't a $41 million where you can push it down the road and his cap hit ends up being like $20 million for next season. Like, no, the franchise tag price will be $41 million on the books. And, some pros of tagging Sam Darnold would be you get him on a one-year rental. Like, maybe you're not a full believer in Sam Darnold being the guy for the Minnesota Vikings. So you want to see one more year of it, and then let's just say he goes and he does it again next season. Then maybe you give him that long-term extension. But also, you would allow J.J. McCarthy to develop for just one more year, give him one more season of rehabbing from that knee surgery, and then you'd also have control over him. And a lot of people are throwing out there the franchise tag and trade scenario, and I see that, but also I'm not too sure the Vikings would do that to Darnold, because you'd be kind of doing him dirty. Maybe there could be some handshake agreement where it's like, hey, you have to approve of the team that we are sending you to with the franchise tag. But I think these are the pros of the tag, but the cons of the tag would be you would have $41 million fully on the books. Like, you can't add some void years. You can't create that in the dead cap. Like, no, the $41 million be on next year's cap. And with the Vikings having $68 million in free agency for next season, would you really want to take 41 of that $68 million and put it towards Sam Darnold? So that's why I'm not the biggest fan of the franchise tag. Ideally, which is my second option for him, and we'll talk about what my ideal contract here is in a second, but just extend Sam Darnold. I think that's your second easiest option. We'll talk about the third one of just letting him walk here in a second. But my ideal contract, and obviously this can change, and, quickly I will say, I don't like the kind of notion out there where it's like, oh, Sam Darnold needs to do this and accomplish this, and then the Vikings will keep him. Like, we have heard it where if Sam Darnold gets us to a Super Bowl, I'll extend him. Well, what if Sam Darnold goes for 303 in the wild card, we win, and then in the divisional round versus Philly, what if he lights it up, goes for 350 and 4, but the Vikings end up losing, but he looks fantastic in 2 playoff games, but since he didn't reach the conference championship or the Super Bowl, you're just cool with letting him walk. So my ideal contract would be 2 years, $50 million. You can really lower that cap hit, create some void years, create some dead cap, and then you still have a lot of money to spend in free agency. But why I love this contract so much is actually got to take a look at our good old friends over there in Wisconsin, the Green Bay Packers. Aaron Rodgers sat behind Brett Favre for multiple years. Jordan Love sat behind Aaron Rodgers for multiple years. So why can't the Vikings do that same thing with J.J. McCarthy and Sam Darnold, where if you give Darnold a 2-year extension, that still allows J.J. to just have 3 years sitting behind Darnold, and then still, even then, J.J. would be 22 years old, turning 23. That year, he would be slated in the start. He would still be extremely young. He would be more pro-ready than if you would just throw him into the Wolves next season. So I like going that route, but again, we'll also talk about the situation where the Vikings just let him walk here in a second. But I do want to show Sam Darnold some love on today's show. Type his jersey number. Type those 14s down below in the comment section. I think he's got one of the coolest stories in the NFL. He was spit up, chewed out, he was chewed up, spit out at the New York Jets and Carolina Panthers. So I think he's got an awesome story. And if you guys want to show him some love, type those 14s down below. Now, we'll talk about the situation where the Vikings let Sam Darnold walk here in a second. But first off, I want to give a massive shout out to today's presenting sponsor. That is Game Time. If you guys download the Game Time app today, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS, you guys will get $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Now, Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. Now, my favorite feature of the Game Time app is their Views from Your Seat feature, which gets you a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you even buy. Now, if you guys want to go to a Vikings game, Timberwolves game, Wild game, Game Time, #1 way to do so. And if you guys download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS, you guys will get $20 off your first purchase. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. What time is it? It is game time. Now, the third option, which I think a lot of Vikings fans are still leaning towards, is that you just let Sam Darnold walk. And I got some issues with this because I would be sick to my stomach just letting a potential top 10 quarterback just walk out of your organization. But I think this all comes down to how much you trust Kevin O'Connell. Like, if you think all of the success that Darnold has had this season is because of the head coach, then yeah, you should be okay with letting him walk because you would assume Kevin O'Connell could just do the same thing with J.J. McCarthy, and you got J.J. on a 4-year, $22 million deal. That's way better than if you even gave Darnold, like my ideal contract, a 2-year, $50 million extension. Now, the one negative, in my opinion, about letting Darnold walk out the door is the amount of pressure that would be on J.J. McCarthy next season. The Vikings are 11-2. Darnold is 3rd in the league in passing touchdowns. That would be the bar, and that would be the standard set for J.J. McCarthy. Because let's just say next year the Vikings get a really tough schedule early. Let's just say they're 4-3, 3-4 throughout the first 7 games. And let's just say JJ's struggling because it's his first time starting the National Football League. I guarantee you Vikings fans will already be hitting the panic alarm saying, why do we let Sam Darnold out the door? This time last season we were 6-1. Darnold was 3rd in the league in passing touchdowns, whatever it may be. It would put a ton of pressure on number 9. Now, I say all that to say this. I am still a massive believer in J.J. McCarthy. Even though I would prefer the Vikings to keep Darnold as it stands right now, again, that would change. But even if you let him walk out the door, I still feel like the Vikings will be very, very successful with J.J. McCarthy. I'm a believer in him. I'm a believer in Kevin O'Connell and just this whole organization to get the most out of that young quarterback. But again, you don't let top 10 quarterbacks walk. And you might be saying, well, Sam Darnold's only playing like a top 10 quarterback because of the weapons, because of Kevin O'Connell. It's really not because of him. And I completely disagree because if we look at the advanced numbers here, his big-time throws on the season, he's had 29. That's tied for first in the National Football League with Josh Allen. Big-time throw percentage, 6.9. Who is he tied with? Josh Allen. Average depth of target, 3rd in the National Football League. He is pushing the ball down the field, and he is averaging 9.5 average yards per or average depth per target. And then also his adjusted completion percentage, 79.2, fourth in the NFL. And if you just go raw numbers here, Darnold, Josh Allen, very, very similar. Darnold's got the edge in completion percentage, pass yards, touchdowns. Yes, Josh Allen has thrown less picks, and he's obviously more of a dual-threat quarterback, and I'm not putting on this graphic to make the case that Darnold's a better QB than Josh Allen. Obviously, I'm not saying that, but I'm using this to kind of really just get you guys a clear view on how special this season has been for Sam Darnold. But then on the other side of it, in the limited action, we saw with J.J. McCarthy just in that one preseason game, playing with the 2s and 3s of the Vikes. Yes, he was going against the 2s and 3s of the Raiders, but he lit it up. He threw an interception on his first drive, and he bounced back, going for 188 yards and 2 touchdowns after that. So, I would just also, I'm fighting both. I feel like I got an angel and a devil on both shoulders right now. Is it going with Darnold? Is it going with J.J.? Now, the point about J.J. that I'll want to get out there is, I would love to see Kevin O'Connell just work with only J.J. for a couple of years. So that's also the part of it where I'm like, man, I would like for the Vikes to just get rid of Darnold, go J.J., and see if the Vikings can get J.J. playing at a top 10 quarterback in the league level with all the cap space. You kind of go a San Francisco 49ers-esque route, how they went with Brock Purdy. You got him on the rookie deal. You have a loaded roster around him. So it's going to be a very, very interesting debate. But, again, all the reports that we're hearing is pretty much a Super Bowl is the only way Sam Darnold is the starting quarterback next season. But, hey, as it stands right now, you got to make a decision. Who are you choosing as the starter for next year? Give me a 9 for J.J. McCarthy. Give me a 14 for Sam Darnold. Again, right now, let's just say the season just ended today. We got the offseason free agency draft around the corner. Who are you taking as QB1 in Minnesota? Give me a 9 for J.J. or 14 for Sam Darnold. Now, if you guys want more Vikings content on your Twitter timeline, just give me a follow on Twitter or X. That's the handle right there at Pat Sieps. If you guys give me a follow over there, I'll give you guys a follow right back. But thank you guys so much for watching today's show. As always, Skol Vikes, baby.